Do you remember the holiday desserts that made Christmas extra special? In this video, we're exploring 20 forgotten Christmas desserts we want back. From sugar plums to coconut snowballs, each filled with nostalgia and festive charm. Stick around to rediscover the flavors that once defined the holiday season and made every gathering magical. Sugar plums. Have you ever wondered what the sugar plums in The Night Before Christmas actually were? These delightful treats weren't just figments of holiday lore, they were real confections that once graced Christmas tables. Far from being literal plums, sugar plums were a mix of dried fruits like figs, apricots, or prunes, combined with chopped nuts and spices, all rolled into bite-sized sugary spheres. What made sugar plums special was their intricate preparation. The mixture was often rolled in sugar or coated in a delicate glaze, giving them a sparkling jewel-like appearance. They were as beautiful as they were delicious, a treat designed to impress guests during festive gatherings. In a time before mass-produced candies, sugar plums were a labor of love. The combination of rich dried fruits and warm spices evoked the essence of Christmas, making each bite a celebration of the season's flavors. Today, their name might spark curiosity more than recognition, but they remain a nostalgic symbol of traditional holiday indulgence. Figgy pudding. Bring us some figgy pudding! But what exactly was this dessert caroler sang about? Figgy pudding, a staple of Victorian Christmas celebrations, is a steamed or baked pudding packed with dried figs, spices, and often a splash of brandy. Unlike modern puddings, figgy pudding was dense and rich, more akin to a moist fruitcake. The dessert's flavors were deep and warming, with cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves perfectly complementing the natural sweetness of the figs. Traditionally steamed for hours, the pudding was sometimes flambéed before serving, creating a dramatic presentation that delighted diners. Figgy pudding was more than just a dessert, it was a showpiece that brought families together. As Christmas traditions modernized, this rich and time-intensive treat fell out of favor, but its legacy lives on in carols and nostalgia. Mince pies. Can you imagine Christmas without mince pies? These small spiced pastries were once synonymous with the holiday season. Packed with mince meat, a sweet mixture of dried fruits, spices, and suet, yes, suet, mince pies had an intense flavor profile that was both sweet and savory. The origins of mince pies date back centuries, evolving from a mix of meat and fruits into the dessert we remember from the 1980s. Each bite was a festive burst of raisins, currants, and hints of cinnamon and cloves, all encased in buttery pastry. They were often served warm, filling homes with the comforting aroma of Christmas. Though modern tastes have shifted away from these old-world flavors, mince pies evoke memories of cozy gatherings and traditional holiday fare. For many, they represent a time when Christmas desserts weren't just sweet, they were rich in history and meaning. Yule log cake. What's more festive than a dessert shaped like a log? The Yule log cake, or bûche de Noël, is a classic Christmas treat that combines artistry with indulgence. Made from a rolled sponge cake filled with cream and coated in chocolate frosting, this dessert was decorated to resemble a real wooden log, complete with frosting, bark, and powdered sugar snow. Originating in Europe, the Yule log cake became a staple of holiday celebrations worldwide, including in the 1980s. Its visual appeal made it a centerpiece dessert, and its flavors, rich chocolate, whipped cream, and sometimes a hint of coffee or rum, were as delightful as its presentation. Creating a Yule log cake required skill and patience, from perfectly rolling the sponge to crafting realistic decorations. But the effort was worth it, as the cake symbolized warmth, togetherness, and the tradition of burning a Yule log for good luck. Plum pudding. Plum pudding, often confused with figgy pudding, was another quintessential holiday dessert. Despite its name, it rarely contained actual plums. Instead, the term referred to the dried fruits, like raisins and currants, that formed the base of this rich steamed pudding. Plum pudding was dense, moist, and packed with flavors like cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves. It was often doused in brandy and set alight before serving, making it as much a spectacle as a dessert. The flaming pudding became a holiday highlight, symbolizing the warmth and cheer of Christmas gatherings. This traditional treat took hours to prepare and even longer to perfect, as families often made their pudding weeks in advance to let the flavors deepen. Today, it's a rare find, but it remains a cherished memory of Christmases when desserts were as much about tradition as taste. Ribbon candy. Do you remember seeing thin, colorful strips of ribbon candy gleaming in holiday tins? Ribbon candy was a staple of Christmas in the 1980s, as much a decoration as a treat. Its delicate curves and bright festive colors made it almost too pretty to eat, though its sweet, fruity, or minty flavors were hard to resist. This candy was traditionally handmade with molten sugar carefully pulled, twisted, and folded into intricate ribbon-like shapes. It was a true artisan craft, requiring skill and patience. The result was a treat that captured the whimsy of the holidays, evoking memories of family gatherings and brightly lit Christmas trees. While ribbon candy still exists in some places, it's not as common as it once was. Its fragility made it tricky to store and transport, and it's been overshadowed by more modern confections. But for those who remember it, ribbon candy is a sweet symbol of simpler, more joyful Christmases. Trifle. What could be more indulgent than layers of sponge cake, custard, fruit, and whipped cream? Trifle was a show-stopping dessert that added elegance to Christmas feasts. Originating in England, this multi-layered treat became a festive favorite in the 1980s, especially for families who wanted a no-bake option with endless flavor combinations. The beauty of trifle lay in its adaptability. Whether made with sherry-soaked cake, fresh berries, or chocolate custard, each version was a masterpiece in flavor and presentation. Served in clear glass bowls, trifles revealed their colorful layers, making them as beautiful as they were delicious. Trifles were perfect for large gatherings, as they could be prepared in advance and easily served in generous scoops. Over time, they've been replaced by quicker desserts, but their nostalgic appeal endures. For many, making trifle was a cherished holiday tradition that brought families together in the kitchen. Snow pudding. Have you ever tried a dessert that feels as light as snow? Snow pudding, a forgotten gem of Christmas desserts, was a lemon-flavored gelatin dish topped with rich custard sauce. Its airy texture made it a refreshing alternative to heavier holiday treats. Popular in the 1980s, snow pudding had a whimsical quality that charmed both children and adults. The gelatin was whipped into frothy peaks, creating a cloud-like appearance. Paired with creamy custard, it struck the perfect balance between tart and sweet, making it a unique addition to the holiday table. Snow pudding required a bit of finesse to prepare, but its delicate flavor and dreamy texture made it worth the effort. Today, it's rarely seen, overshadowed by flashier desserts. Still, it remains a nostalgic favorite for those who crave the lightness of a dessert that truly lived up to its name. Ambrosia salad. How about a salad that's all about sweetness? Ambrosia salad was a staple of 1980s Christmas tables, blending canned fruit, marshmallows, shredded coconut, and whipped cream into a dessert-like side dish. Its bright colors and sweet flavors made it a hit with kids and a festive addition to holiday spreads. The appeal of Ambrosia salad lay in its simplicity. It required no baking or complicated techniques, making it an easy, last-minute addition to any meal. The combination of textures, soft marshmallows, chewy coconut, and juicy fruit, was oddly satisfying, creating a playful dish that felt celebratory. Though modern tastes have moved away from this sugary salad, Ambrosia holds a special place in the memories of those who grew up with it. For many, it was a symbol of holiday indulgence and the creativity of 80s culinary trends. Gingerbread men. Who can forget the joy of decorating gingerbread men at Christmas? These spiced cookies were more than just a treat. They were an activity that brought families together. Rolling out the dough, cutting out the shapes, and adding icing and candy decorations made the process as fun as the final product. Gingerbread men were a Christmas tradition for centuries, but they reached peak popularity in the 1980s as families embraced hands-on holiday activities. Their warm, spicy aroma filled kitchens with the unmistakable scent of Christmas, and their crisp yet chewy texture made them a perfect companion to hot cocoa. While gingerbread cookies remain a holiday staple, the focus has shifted to elaborate gingerbread houses or store-bought kits. For those who remember the simple joy of crafting their own edible creations, gingerbread men are a reminder of the holiday's most cherished moments. Divinity candy. Do you remember the cloud-like sweetness of Divinity candy? This fluffy nougat-like treat was a staple of 1980s Christmas celebrations, often made at home and shared as part of festive dessert platters. Made with egg whites, sugar, and often studded with nuts, Divinity candy was both light and decadently sweet. The texture was its most defining feature, airy and melt in your mouth, yet slightly chewy. The process of making Divinity required patience and skill, as the sugar syrup had to be cooked to the perfect temperature before being whipped into the egg whites. It was often flavored with vanilla or almond extract, and sometimes tinted with pastel colors for an extra festive touch. While its delicate nature has made it less common in modern kitchens, Divinity candy remains a nostalgic favorite for those who remember the joy of carefully preparing and sharing it during the holidays. Fruitcake. Fruitcake has long been the most divisive of Christmas desserts, but in the 1980s, it was a holiday staple, packed with candied fruits, nuts, and often soaked in rum or brandy. This dense cake was a labor of love, prepared weeks in advance to allow the flavors to develop. Despite its controversial reputation, fruitcake held a special place in holiday traditions. The rich spice flavor and chewy texture made it perfect for savoring with a cup of coffee or tea. Often given as a gift, fruitcakes came beautifully packaged, adding to their festive appeal. Today, fruitcake is often the butt of holiday jokes, but for those who grew up with it, it remains a nostalgic reminder of a time when desserts were as rich in tradition as they were in flavor. Cranberry mold. Before fancy plated desserts became the norm, cranberry mold was a Christmas showstopper. This gelatin-based dessert, often shaped in ornate holiday molds, was a tart and sweet addition to festive spreads. It combined the vibrant flavor of cranberries with the smooth texture of gelatin, sometimes enhanced with orange zest or crushed pineapple. Cranberry mold wasn't just a dessert, it doubled as a decorative centerpiece, its shimmering red hue catching the light and drawing attention. Served alongside turkey or as part of the dessert table, it was versatile and beloved for its bright, refreshing taste. Though it's been largely replaced by more modern cranberry dishes, this retro favorite remains a cherished memory for those who remember its place at the holiday feast. Cherry bounce cake. Cherry bounce cake was the perfect combination of indulgence and holiday cheer. This rich, moist cake was infused with cherry liqueur, giving it a boozy kick that delighted adults during festive gatherings. The cherries themselves were often soaked in the liqueur, adding bursts of flavor throughout the cake. The dessert had a decadent feel, with its deep flavors and velvety texture making it a luxurious treat. It was often topped with a glossy glaze or powdered sugar, adding to its elegant presentation. Cherry bounce cake was a favorite for Christmas parties and family dinners, embodying the festive spirit of the season. While it's less common today, cherry bounce cake evokes a time when holiday desserts were all about indulgence and celebrating in style. Icebox cookies. Icebox cookies were a Christmas essential in the 1980s, offering both convenience and festive fun. Made by chilling a roll of dough in the refrigerator and slicing it into perfect rounds, these cookies were a no-fuss way to create delicious holiday treats. The dough could be flavored in countless ways: vanilla, chocolate, or spice, and often featured colorful swirls or festive add-ins like candied cherries or nuts. This made them as visually appealing as they were tasty. What made icebox cookies special was their flexibility. You could prepare the dough ahead of time, making it easy to bake a fresh batch whenever guests arrived. They were the perfect solution for busy holiday schedules, bringing homemade charm to any gathering. Today, icebox cookies have faded in popularity, but for those who remember them, they represent the joys of simple, homemade holiday traditions. Peppermint bark. Few holiday desserts captured the essence of Christmas like peppermint bark. This layered treat combined dark or milk chocolate with white chocolate, topped with crushed peppermint candies for a festive crunch. It was a simple, satisfying dessert that blended creamy sweetness with a refreshing burst of peppermint. Peppermint bark was popular in the 1980s as a go-to treat for gifting or sharing at holiday parties. Its beautiful snowy appearance made it a perfect addition to dessert trays, and its easy-to-make recipe ensured it became a household staple during the season. Whether enjoyed as a standalone snack or paired with a cup of hot cocoa, peppermint bark was a little taste of holiday magic. Although still available in stores, the homemade charm of peppermint bark has been overshadowed by fancier confections. For those who grew up with it, its simple joy remains a beloved Christmas memory. Hot buttered rum cake. Hot buttered rum cake was the dessert equivalent of cozying up by the fire with a holiday drink. This moist, spiced cake was infused with butter and rum, creating a rich, warming treat that brought comfort and cheer to any gathering. The cake's texture was soft and dense, with just enough rum to enhance the flavors without overpowering them. Often topped with a buttery glaze or powdered sugar, hot buttered rum cake looked as indulgent as it tasted. It was the centerpiece of many Christmas tables, paired perfectly with coffee or eggnog after a hearty meal. Making this cake was as much a tradition as eating it. Recipes were often passed down, and families added their own twists, such as incorporating nuts or spices like nutmeg and cinnamon. Though it's less common today, hot buttered rum cake remains a nostalgic favorite for those who cherish the warmth of traditional holiday desserts. Jam tarts. Jam tarts were a festive delight that added color and sweetness to Christmas celebrations. These small, flaky pastries were filled with vibrant fruit preserves like raspberry, apricot, or blackberry, creating a perfect balance of buttery crust and tangy filling. In the 1980s, jam tarts were often homemade, their simplicity making them an ideal project for families during the holidays. Children loved helping cut out the dough and spooning jam into the tart shells, creating memories as sweet as the desserts themselves. These bite-sized treats were versatile, served as both a snack and a dessert. Their bright, jewel-like appearance made them a visual highlight of any holiday spread, and their satisfying flavor ensured they disappeared quickly. While jam tarts have become less common, they remain a nostalgic reminder of a time when holiday baking was all about family and tradition. Christmas wassail jelly. Inspired by the warm, spiced holiday drink, Christmas wassail jelly was a unique addition to festive tables. This jelly captured the flavors of traditional wassail, a mix of apple cider, oranges, cloves, and cinnamon, and transformed them into a spreadable, jewel-toned treat. Perfect for slathering on scones, biscuits, or toast, wassail jelly was a versatile way to enjoy the season's signature flavors. Its tangy sweetness and warming spices made it a holiday favorite, especially for breakfast or afternoon tea during the Christmas season. Though it required time and patience to make, wassail jelly was worth the effort. Its deep red color and fragrant aroma brought holiday cheer to the table, and it often doubled as a thoughtful homemade gift. Today, it's a rare find, but those who remember it recall its unique and festive charm. Coconut snowballs. Coconut snowballs were a whimsical and delicious holiday treat that brought a bit of winter's magic to the dessert table. These no-bake confections featured marshmallows or cake rolled in sweetened condensed milk, then coated in shredded coconut to resemble snowy spheres. Their playful appearance and soft, chewy texture made them a favorite among children and adults alike. Some recipes added chocolate or fruit fillings, adding an extra layer of indulgence to these already delightful bites. In the 1980s, coconut snowballs were a common feature at holiday parties, appreciated for their simplicity and visual appeal. They required minimal preparation, making them an ideal last-minute addition to any Christmas celebration. While they faded from modern holiday menus, coconut snowballs remain a nostalgic treat for those who remember their sweet, snowy charm. These forgotten Christmas desserts remind us of a time when holiday traditions were as sweet as the treats on our plates. From figgy pudding to coconut snowballs, each dessert carried its own story and festive charm. Which of these desserts do you miss the most? Let us know in the comments below.